The Buzz with Momma T. We are we are coming to you live from Little Bobby's Bar and Grill here in McIntosh. Our first guest is Ron Roseland, and he is going to play for us later here. We're going to do a little interview first. So why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
All right, I'm Ron Roseland. I'm originally from Anchorage, Alaska. I moved from there in '66 and moved to Minnesota and went to high school in Crookston. And then shortly after that, I went in the service, Air Force, and then I got out and I went to Alaska and learned how to build custom homes for my dad and worked in building homes and remodeling industry. And then I went into sales in 2002 and retired in 2016 and been playing music ever since I was in high school. I went to a concert in I think it was 1968 and seen a young gentleman perform. The high school seniors had got this gentleman to play so they could raise money for prom, and this guy's name was John Dusseldorf, and later he changed his name to John Denver. He got on stage and he was so charismatic and such a wonderful entertainer. I said that's what I wanted to be, was an entertainer. But he was, one of the things he said he was so excited because he was waiting, he was on pins and needles waiting for a group called Peter, Paul and Mary to record one of his songs, which he said that he had titled it a different title, but they changed it to Leaving on a Jet's Plane, and you all know the story after that. So anyway, that's where I got my inspiration to pick up with the guitar and start writing.
So what else did your dad do up there in Alaska?
My dad was started collecting folk songs. He traveled all over Anchorage and all over Seattle, going to rest homes, trying to put pieces back together of old folk songs that the old miners and trappers used to sing. And he traveled even into Seattle and other parts of the country, spent quite a few years collecting and trying to piece together these Alaska folk songs. He was a folk singer in Alaska. He was well known, and they called him the Singing Sourdough. And a sourdough is somebody who spent a lot of time in Alaska. If you're new to Alaska, you're called a Chichaco, but he pegged himself the Singing Sourdough, and he played, and they had lots of documentaries on him. And in fact, he was one of the last people to homestead in Alaska. He had 147 acres near Portage Glacier. Anyway, I got up there in 1978, and that same year he was doing a CD on Alaska folk songs, and I was able to accompany him on that album.
That sounds like a whole lot of fun. Who was your biggest supporter as far as your music career went?
I think my biggest supporter was my mom. Every time that I would write something, I'd bring it home and run it by her, and she always had her favorites. They would change. One time, she'd have, I really like that one, and I'd play that one, and then later on, she says, "Oh man, I like that one better than the other one." And I had a song called "Unselfish Love." I wrote it for a friend of mine as I watched his wife and how she treated him as a husband. And I wrote that song, "Unselfish Heart," and then she really liked that song. And then I wrote a song just recently called "A Soldier's Life," and she really liked "A Soldier's Life."
And I'm guessing that was from personal experience?
Yeah, I wanted to write something different, and I wanted to write something that had a shocking ending. Something, I wanted to tell a story about a soldier being away from his family, and it seemed like there's certain things that guys in the military are proud of, and one of the things they're proud of is their hunting dogs. And they always talked, they'd bring up their hunting dogs before they'd bring up their wives or their children. It was pretty comical. So in this song, and my brother had a dog named Taffy, and I used the name in the song because I wanted to kind of add my brother into the song. And at the end of the song, this gentleman comes. He comes home. He's a hero, and he comes home. And at the end of the song, the last line is, he'll never feel lonely. He wishes he had arms to hold them. So at the end of the story, you realize that this soldier came home, but he didn't come home whole. He came home without arms, and he wished he had them, that he could hold his loved ones again.
Wow. Well, I guess I don't have to ask you which was the hardest song for you to write.
Yes. I just like to write songs that have a message in them, and songs that pull on the heartstrings. I've written songs about marriage. I've wrote songs about love. I've wrote songs about losing people. I've written several songs for people that have lost their loved ones. And I lost a cousin from cancer, and she was very, very young and left her whole family. And that song, I was on the phone with my brother. It was Christmas time, and we had gotten a Christmas letter. This was several years after she passed away, and the letter was just very depressing. They were just having a tough time going through the holidays without her. And my brother was on the phone, and at the end of the conversation, or close to the end, he said, they just need to let go. And that was the key to that turned the computer on in my brain. And I told my brother I had to go, and I sat down, and in 20 minutes I wrote the song.
Tell me about this. Tell me about this computer, your songwriting process.
Okay, my songwriting, from the special songs, I think they're out there. I think that they are here for us to enjoy. And we are the medium, us writers are the medium to bring those to the public. And to be able to have us have emotions and to have feelings. And for me, it's like if you picture yourself sitting in front of a computer. I carry this computer around me, and it's a blank screen all the time. And then all of a sudden, I'll be with a group of people, or I'll be with an individual or whatever, and they'll say something just like my brother did. And all of a sudden, that screen will come on. And all of a sudden, I start hearing the melody. And I hear the music, and then I see the words in my head. I just like I'm reading them, and I just write them down as they come to me. And just like that song and many other songs I've written, I haven't changed them at all. They're just there, and that's just the way they're supposed to be. And you don't have to rewrite them. You don't have to struggle with them. There's other songs. There's a song that I wrote probably 15 years ago. I didn't even have a title for it, and I called it the Fishing Song. And it was I got part of it from a movie called Sounder from Disney, and I got other parts of it from being with my dad when I was younger. And it's about a guy trying to raising up wheat, and he's praying for rain, and every day to feed his family, him and his son go down and catch fish, and they have to fish there till they catch enough to have a meal for the day. So sometimes it takes all day long. Well, anyway, I wrote that song, and I only had the 2 verses or the 3 verses of the song. And I was performing one night, and just instantaneously I knew exactly what the chorus was supposed to be. And I played it that night without even thinking, like I'd played it a million times. I played it, and it was just wonderful, and I have not changed it. And in the chorus, it was called Daddy and Me, became the title of the song. So, I mean, some of the songs you have to really struggle. When I sit down to play guitar, I usually have a tape recorder, because if you don't tape the melody or the words or the catchy phrases that you're coming up with, they're lost. You'll never get them again. But every time my brother passed away, and I'd sit down to play my guitar, and this melody would come to me all the time. And it just seemed like every time I sat down, I'd hear this melody in my head. And finally I listened to the melody over and over, what it was supposed to be telling me and what story I was supposed to tell. And I realized that it was a story about my brother and how my brother was a strange bird. He never dated in high school. He was he was a book learner. He had books stacked up all in our room. He'd get from the library in school and all over, and he'd read and read. And in his senior year, he was with a bunch of buddies of his. They went to Al's Pizza in Crookston. They sat down and the waitress came over and ordered the pizza. And when the waitress walked away, my brother says, "I'm going to marry that gal," and he did. And that's pretty much the story about it. It has this farm kid that comes into town, and he goes to the cafe and he meets this waitress, and they have a life together, and they have 2 kids. And at the end of the song, he passes away, and now he's waiting in heaven for her to come. And when I was trying to write the song, I was trying to title it, and I couldn't. My brother's name was Arnie, and his wife's name was Jackie, which neither one of them are very melodic or you can rhyme to. So I thought about it. It came to me. I used their middle names, and his name was Lewis, and her name was Lynn. Oh. So I named the title of the song Lewis and Lynn. So and I really love playing the song because it's a neat story. So
you have a lot. It sounds like you've got a lot of emotional songs. You put a lot of emotion into. I mean, you can't even talk about them. It's so rare to find a songwriter that actually can write something that tugs on your heartstrings, like you said.
I only write unless it's given to me. I only write the things that I'm supposed to write. I don't sit down and write just to be writing. If they're given to me, or if I feel touched or moved, just like I wrote a song for 9/11, and I wrote a song for the pandemic, and things, and that the pandemic, they were broadcasting it early in the show, and they were telling of all the people that were lost and all the loved ones that were suffering and not being able to be with their loved ones while they were dying, and I just felt so touched, and I sat down and I wrote that in 10-15 minutes.
Where can people find all this music?
Well, a lot of it they can find on my Facebook page. So I have it on Facebook page. I did a live concert and recorded it for my last CD, and some of those videos are on Facebook on Ron Roseland and the Best Buddies Band, and also you have to look up Ron Roseland and the Best Buddies Band on iTunes, Spotify, other platforms. So you might think that I have a lot of listeners. That's not the case.
Oh, you should.
You probably go to there and, well, when I started it, I was the only one clicking on it, so I would listen to it and try to listen to it 5 times, and then I'd get 5 on there, and then the next day I'd listen to it 5 more times, then I get 5 more listeners. But then I started getting some people to listen to it, I just, I've always wanted to be an entertainer, and I always wanted to entertain for people, but I've had so many choice experiences. One of the experiences I'd like to relate to you that is really special to me is I performed one time in a coffee house, very small venue, and I used to play there for 3 hours. And one evening, to the left of me was three individuals. There was a grandmother and her daughter, and then her daughter. So there was 3 generations there. And this elderly lady had to be probably in her early 80s. Anyway, she spent the whole evening there, all 3 hours. And at the end of my show, when I used to perform, I had a 3-legged table with a crystal vase with roses on it. And at each show, I would take one of those roses out, and on the pedal, I would write my name and where I performed and the date. And that would be sitting on my chair when I walked out. And I took that from my chair and I laid it next to it. And during my show, I'd tell them that I would give that rose would go to somebody that I felt in the audience. And that evening, I reached out and I was going to give it, and this elderly lady, the oldest grandmother, she thought I was going to give it to her daughter, and I gave it to her. And a couple weeks later, after I performed, I called the place to play there again, to perform there again, and the owner said, yeah, you know that lady you gave a rose to last time you played? She passed away, and she said she was buried with that rose.
Oh my goodness. You're gonna make me cry.
So I mean, I remember playing in a health food store, a health food restaurant, and I remember this couple coming in, and they sat at one table, and I played, and they must have sat there for 2 hours, and she had a little teeny diamond for a wedding ring. I mean, it was tiny, tiny, tiny. And they sat there all day and shared one piece of carrot cake all evening long. So, I mean, those are, I remember playing, and I played a song for about a friend of mine's wife dying. And during my performance, this lady got up and just started bawling profusely. I mean, just crazily. I mean, I was upset, so I stopped after I did the song and walked up to the person it was at an open house, and they had about 100 people there. And I said, what's the matter with the lady? And she said she lost her son in a car accident the weekend before. So it was. So I mean, these and I've had people that put my CDs on, and they get to the last song, and I wrote a song for my cousin, the one I told you about, my brother, You Have to Let Go, and they get listening to that, and they have to pull off the side of the road because they're crying so bad and they can't see where they're driving. I mean, that's the stories that touch me. And you know, even if I just touch one person, I know that, you know, my music is here for a reason, you know. So.
Well, you know, I think we're about 20 minutes in, and I decided that, you know, this part of the show, we're gonna let you guys play some music.
All right.
You got 10 minutes of music you think you can
Oh
play?
yeah, oh yeah.
All right.
So, all right.
What are you gonna play first? Introduce the song.
Well, I quite a few years ago, I got a harmonizer. I thought this would be kind of cool to have a harmonizer to perform with. And I got home with it, and I started listening to all the different sounds it made. And I got on this one sound, and all of a sudden, this song came out almost instantly. And it's about a trucker. And I didn't think there was a whole lot of new trucking songs out there. So I thought I'd write a trucking song, and this is called Lonely Road. a third generation trucker. His old Mac, it's a decent sucker. It's chrome stacks, glow black as gold, running down this lonesome road. He don't know what holds his rig together. It seldom breaks down, no matter the weather. The heat of the sun, when it rains or snows, running down this lonesome road. He can hear the wheels on the highway, another song playing on his iPhone, another town, another heavy load, running down this lonesome road. He dreams of being with his family, his lovely wife, and his kids at home. It's the only life he knows, running down this lonesome road. He can hear the wheels on the highway, another song playing on the radio, another town, another heavy load, running down this lonesome road. He can hear the wheels on the highway, another song playing on his iPhone, another town, another heavy load, running down this lonesome road.
That was awesome. You got another one?
Yep, this is Rod, my cousin. Bondi. I wrote this song as a real song, slow folk song, and then I changed it, and it's the title track from my second CD called Why Does It Go Blank? I'll think of it here. After several special dates A young man anticipates here and I love you. With the shaky hands and on one knee, he's asking her, will you marry me? Pleading, I love you. Three little words that mean so much, that can change a simple touch. It's the things that we say and do that makes its meaning ring true. I love you. Oh, I love you. Hours of making a wedding plans, picking out the right wedding band that says I love you. Soon she'll be in a family way. Then comes a blessed day, a tiny I love you. Three little words that mean so much, that can change a simple touch. It's the things we say and do that makes its meaning ring true. I love you. Oh, I love you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Well, then it's Daddy, will you play with me? As the sun hangs around his knee, laughing, I love you. Soon grown and a soldier in the infantry, sending letters from overseas, signed out, love you. Three little words that mean so much, that can change a simple touch. It's the things that we say and do that makes its meaning ring true. I love you. Oh, I love you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Oh, I love you.
Wow, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. I think we're about out of time though, guys. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having
Stay
us.
tuned for the second half of the show. We're gonna have Steamer on for the second half of the show. Don't ever let anybody tell you that Elvis is dead. He is alive and well and plays here at Little Bobby's once a month for the rest of the year. The next time he's going to be here is July 26th. That's a Friday at 7 p.m. August 31st, that's a Saturday. He'll be here at 5. September 28th, he'll be here on Saturday at 8 p.m. He will be here at Little Bobby's in McIntosh, Minnesota, 295 Cleveland Avenue Southwest. come on out and have a good time. We've got music museum. We're a music venue. We've got great food and great entertainment. Hi, how are you doing?
Well, the weather's been kind of rough this afternoon, but I'm glad to be on here. It's probably my first ever interview, so bear with me.
Your first interview?
Yes.
So nobody's ever interviewed you before? You just interviewed other people?
Yeah, a few, but never done anything like this. So.
Well, that's exciting.
Yep.
Glad to be your first. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do?
What? Well, I currently do a podcast on Dakota Media Access Community Radio here in Bismarck, KUAK 102.5 FM or radioaccess.org. And this week is my 420th episode. So I've done 8 years worth of shows. I've never missed a week. I actually went, like when I'm sick, I have a couple in the can waiting to go. I actually had a bout of Bell's palsy, and I had enough station IDs that I kept my show running regardless. So I kind of pride myself on that fact, you know.
That's
when you're a blues fan and a hard old German like me, you just keep going no matter what, right?
Yep. The show must go on, right? No matter what. Tell me a little bit about your show. What is your show all about?
Well, I play a lot of brand new modern contemporary blues. You know, I play a few classics, but I more play the smaller independent artists. This week, in fact, was episode 420. So I played Weed Blues by Little Bobby off of his, what was that, the B string?
I know that guy.
B string album. I played that this week. So you can actually hear that again tomorrow night at 8:00. And then I play another 420 song, Whiskey by John Primer. So I just play a lot of brand new stuff. I get so many albums every week from various publicists and record companies. It's hard to do I only have an hour segment, so it's hard to balance the brand new stuff I'm getting along with stuff that I really dig and people like. So it's tough.
How did you get into this? How did this whole thing
Well, I've been a music fan all my life. I actually grew up, I was born in Breckenridge, Minnesota, raised in Wahpeton. You know, lucky enough, all through high school in the 70s, Fargo had all these great concerts in Minneapolis and totally different scene than Bismarck. And then, you know, I got to see a few bands. I saw Elvin Bishop, and then I saw George Thorogood's Bad to the Bone tour in the early 80s, and Lonnie Brooks opened up. So I was kind of getting pushed towards the blues, you know. And then I moved out to Bismarck, and a bar in Mandan was starting to do blues in the early 90s. The Buckhorn Bar, the late Rodney Berger would bring in great bands quite often. And I started going to that. And then I went to see a buddy in St. Paul. He goes, "Hey, my friend's playing at the Blues Saloon, the old one downtown on Rice Street." So we went there. And it's like I was hooked.
Are you talking about
That's the night at the old Blues Saloon on Rice Street. I was hooked. I think the name of the band was called Freight Train. They were a local band. A guy named Todd Haugen, I think, was like the leader of the band. And I was hooked. That I was done with everything. Other than that, I was a classic rocker kind of guy, you know, in the 70s.
I've been to Walewski. It's really it'll get you every time.
Yeah, it's on Rice Street now, right?
Yep.
It was downtown when I saw it. I think there was a shooting there like the night before we had been there. It was a
Paul
rough part of
Testa.
town in the old days.
So I've got a viewer, Paul Testa. We call him Sweet Polly T. He is said he likes your T-shirt, and he said that he thinks that the one you were talking about was on Western Avenue.
Yeah, it was rough part of town. I know there was a shooting there the night before. So
Scary.
yep. So I've been hooked ever since, you know. And then out here in Bismarck, I actually started on URL radio. It's called an internet station, probably around 2000-ish or so, maybe a little after. Stacy Lynn out of Bismarck has that. I did it, and then I kind of lost interest. Then I had what was it called? A free radio thing, but I didn't talk. I just mixed music on it and put it out. I can't remember the name. Then they went under. I wasn't doing it for a while. And then a guy named Shad Peel is a board member on Dakota Media Access, and he contacted me that they were starting a radio station and they wanted me to do a blues show, and I agreed to do it. And this is kind of where I'm at.
So how long you've been doing it? Like 20 years now?
Well, no, 8 years worth of this show. A few years on, I don't know, 10 or 12 years. But I have built it up. I got a lot of listeners actually worldwide. Belgium, Switzerland, I've heard from people, Australia. So I'm a reporting DJ as well to Living Blues Magazine and the Big Blues Chart, which
Perfect.
is a new one that people are speaking pretty highly of.
Yeah, I've heard about both of those. I think Bobby's had an interview, album review from what was the first one you said? Living Blues.
Yeah, Living Blues. Yeah.
That's
Yep. That's out of University of Mississippi or something like that. That's where I send my playlists to.
So what kind of music did you listen to growing up?
A lot of, hard rock stuff. Ted Nugent, Stars was one of my favorites. Head East. Head East used to come through Fargo like every other week or something, I swear. REO Speedwagon, Brownsville Station I saw in Fargo. Saw Rush several times when they were starting out. Like the 2112 tour was in Fargo. So saw a lot of that stuff. Then I would go to Minneapolis a lot in the 80s. So saw Iron Maiden like 5 times. UFO, always like them.
So and now you're listening to
I was always a music guy. And then, I also knew Dan Bridell from when I worked in a music store in Breckenridge called Brass and Wax. And we would take ticket money up to Dan at Mother's Records. So that was even when I was still like 79, 80. So I always kind of had a hankering to be involved in music somehow. And I'm not talented enough I don't play any items. I really don't even have a radio voice, certainly not a face for television either. But I have a lot of fun when I do it. I know what I like. I think people like the music that I play every week. It's a variety of, brand new modern stuff that a lot of people really don't think of as blues. I play some Cajun, some, Zydeco stuff. Just different. Every week is different.
Who are your newest favorite artists? Who are you listening to now?
Well, I was just listening to some Mr. Sip because I saw he's coming to Fargo. So I'm excited about him. I think he's a great new artist, I hear so many, but there's some that I've played more than others over the course of 8 years. And they're not household names by any means. It's what I like. And I know people have said to me, gee, you don't play this, you don't play that. I don't know. I didn't know it was called Bob's Show. It's Steamers Blues, man. I play what I like. I
Yeah.
like this gal called Nisi out of Michigan. I like the Rusty Wright Band out of Florida. There's just some oddball bands that I play a lot of. Skyla Burrell out of Pennsylvania. Just, you know,
I
different bands that
I'm
I
gonna have
play.
to
They're
start, I
not,
think I should
it's
probably
not a
start listening.
popularity contest. I'm kind of playing what Steamer digs.
So I do have a couple comments, viewer comments. Um, Sean Edward Slauson says, looking good, Steve. And he wants to know what your thoughts are on the Fargo Blues Fest as a whole.
I thought the lineup was a little weak when I initially looked at it. And then I saw Pablo Cruz on there, and Papa Chubby's been there. And, then unfortunately he got replaced now by Mr. Sip. I'm excited about that. I really like that Gary Kane band, solid guitar player. Jay and the Rectifiers out of the cities. I'm looking forward to seeing them. And then actually I was looking at some old Pablo Cruz videos on YouTube this morning. So, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I think Saturday is the more bluesy kind of day, if I can say that. North Mississippi All Stars and Lamont. Lamont is always a great time. I've seen them a dozen times, but they're great every time. So can't beat it. That's my thought on Fargo. Just bought my tickets this morning, actually.
Yeah, another comment. 70 Steps with a Hammond. Bobby in the Storm played there with Nora Jean Russo. 70 Steps. Sweet Polly, which this is a few comments ago. I'm not sure where he's talking about there.
Huh.
But he also said that Sip is great, super talented.
It doesn't ring a bell.
No, you said Sip?
Huh. I don't remember the name.
You know who Little Bobby in the Storm is?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Paul is talking about. So yeah, the old Walewskis. Okay, that's what he's talking about. 80 Steps with the Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul had played the old Walewskis and had he plays the organ.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He had 70 steps. He had to go with a Hammond, and when Little Bobby and the Storm played there with Nora Jean. Okay. Now I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, they're heavy too. So
yeah, they're not easy to move. You can just as well move a grand piano.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we don't get a lot of blues out here. It's a hard sell. I tried that. I've done my share of promoting out here. There was just a guy in town a couple weeks ago. He sold like 50 tickets. Tough sell.
Yeah, it's not really much of a blues area up here.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, we've tried. Everybody's tried. It just doesn't work. Unless it's a big, huge name. Robert Cray sold out the Bell Mayhews. Guys like that would,
Yeah.
But they get premium dollar, but you can't get people to come and see it for $20 or $25, So,
people complain about a $5 cover charge,
Yeah. People are difficult. That's fine. I'm fine with it.
What has been the hardest part of doing what you do?
I still work full time. I'm 63 years old. I work in the hospital laboratory. I run the storeroom. So, I got a lot of that on my mind. But I come home and I'll bet I put a couple hours a day on average into it just by researching and listening to, Sometimes I get 6 or 7 CDs at a time, either digital, online, or so I try and I really do listen to every song on a disc. I'll go through and I'll listen to a snippet of, 15 or 20 seconds. If it marks my eye, I'll quick download it, I'll write it down. And that's how I keep track of all the new stuff that I get. And then I'll put little notes by it, so I can remember what I'm doing. And then nowadays with the station, we need to locate the ISRC codes to include with our show that we send in. And then we need to send all that to a cloud site. So it takes a little time. I think I'm the only one crazy enough to do it every week without missing a beat. So some people have like 100 shows, but I'm a loyal guy, so I do one every week. They haven't thrown me out yet.
Well, I hope not. How do people find your show? Is there like
That's a little tough. Well, radioaccess.org would get you to the site. And then, it plays 4 times a week. The debut episode of every week is Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time. And then it replays Saturday at 6 p.m. Central. And then Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Central. And then again at 8 p.m. on Monday night. And then the shows are loaded onto Mixcloud. So you can search KUAK, Steamers Blues, stuff like that. It should pop up on Mixcloud. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Blues is great. Blues is just a big family, That's initially how I met you, I believe, up in, were we in Bottineau? Belfort. At the Turtle Mountain Blues.
Yeah, Turtle Mountain Blues Festival. Yeah. Yep.
That's where I met you.
Indigenous was there. Yeah.
They had a few technical issues that night as well, so it's kind of fitting. Technology
is great when it works right.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have a whole lot to say because I don't know a whole. I'm not very technologically intelligent. I don't know.
Are you and Bobby going to be in Fargo as well?
I don't know yet. We haven't even talked about it. We've got so much going on around here.
Bobby always used to just come floating in like a butterfly anyway. Yep. You'd be sitting out in the audience here. He would come walking by.
And you could tell it was him
in the backstage thing. You knew he didn't have no ticket, something with his big hat. Yeah. He just waltzed in all the time. That's how I initially met the guy, is by watching him do stuff like that. Then he'd get up on stage with the band and tear it up with them. So that was my initial meeting of little Bobby Hool.
He's got quite a presence.
Yeah. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And he doesn't pay me to say that either.
So
where did you grow up, Steamer?
What's up?
Where did you grow up? Were you
in Wapaton, North Dakota?
And did you have was your family into music or?
No, not so much. I was kind of always the black sheep. So my dad worked for the power company down there, Ottertail Power. My mom ran the Vets Club bar for many years. Then I moved out to Bismarck in 1989 to take a printing job. And now I'm at the hospital. So, yeah, life is good. Figuring what I'm going to do in a few years and I retire.
Do you do interviews?
No, I haven't, but I maybe should.
Because going to Fargo Blues Festival or even moon dance,
Yeah.
something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Bring a little.
I guess you can do them on your phone. I'm not sure. I should really check with Sean. I think he does that, right?
Sean,
Is that the guy in
yeah, I think.
Renegade Radio, Sean?
Yeah, yep, that's the same
Right. Yeah, I should hook up with him and see what he does. I think the station has a little device. But you know, when I go to the Blues Fest like that, heck, I'm there to party. I want to see the music and, you know. I did interview Scotty Miller one time and it turned out kind of rough, so I didn't attempt any further. So
Okay. So I just got past the note. I guess we're gonna go a little past our time today because we're gonna try this after I'm done talking to you, we're gonna try this sound again because I think we know what we did wrong.
okay.
We're gonna punch all this stuff in and do it from the bar, and
All right.
we're gonna have a whole lot of fun.
Awesome.
So what do you got coming up?
Not much. I'm just gearing up to go to Fargo next month, I guess.
Are we going to the Fargo Blues Festival? Steamer wants to know. He said that's how. So he might be just floating through the crowd, seeing your big hat.
When is it?
He wants to know, when is it this year?
Is it August 9th and 10th?
9th, August 9th and 10th. And I
Yeah.
just noticed you've got a poster of Amanda Fish behind you. She's
Yeah, I booked her twice into Bismarck.
yeah.
Once at the Ramada Hotel and once at the Laughing Sun.
Oh.
I've only done 2 shows since COVID.
Oh my goodness, he has me trying to do this here and do this here, and I can't figure out his phone. Just paste the link in there. Press and hold, paste. Press and hold and paste it. So, what was I gonna say? Okay. Oh yeah. Who's been like your favorite musician to have on your show? Somebody you play over and over and over.
Over and over and over. Probably the most I've ever played anybody is either Nisi out of Michigan or the Rusty Wright Band out of Florida. Honestly, those are probably the 2.
So then you will listen to them on repeat when you're not even doing your show.
Yeah. That or the old Elvin Bishop live Raising Hell. That's my all-time favorite go-to album of all time. I wore the grooves out. I had to get it on CD, and that one's about shot too.
Oh, that's good though.
Yeah.
That's
Elvin's a good
opening
guy.
the mailbox and having all kinds of those CDs or opening.
Oh yeah. Yep. I actually played the new one of Bobby a couple weeks ago, so I'll have to get him on again pretty soon.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, Steamer's Blues Reports, right? I didn't even realize that. I
He
guess
needs to make me a station ID.
a
Then I'll
sta-
get him on a little more.
I don't know, what does he mean?
A
he's
one-liner.
Oh yeah.
a one-liner. Oh yeah.
I got a lot of
One-liners,
those,
yeah.
so I use them often.
Send you one tonight.
He said he'll make you one tonight.
Awesome.
Even if I don't say my name, that's what I did with this last record. I must have 50 radio stations across the globe.
Did you tell him that I played Weed Blues this week on my show?
Oh no, you don't want to see me.
We just want to hear your voice, right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. I think you're the first DJ to ever play that song.
Yeah.
The
Well,
only song
this week was episode 420, so I celebrate a little bit.
I got my new record because we have a video that just came out. Sometimes I get high. It's
All right.
Yeah, Dealing from the Bottom of the Deck.
friendly.
Yeah. So
I
Dealing
love
from
the
the Bottom of the
support.
Deck, Weed Blues. That was actually from a couple CDs ago.
Yeah,
last one
that
that came
Killer
out.
B string, right?
Yeah, and then on this one is Dealing from the Bottom of the Deck, and got
Yep.
one from this one called
Yep.
Sometimes I Get High.
I think I got that from Little Village.
Little Village.
Yeah, promotion company, right?
Untouchable
from
Productions.
somebody.
Under like ABK,
Oh,
ABI.
right?
ABIK. He said it would be under ABIK or
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what it was.
I'm gonna.
Yep. I get so many, I can't remember all of them where I get them. I get from
Raccoon coming up.
Blind Raccoon. Yep.
Yeah. That's what he's going to try for now. Well,
Great.
any stories you want to? Got any good stories?
No stories. I'm sure I could go on and on probably if you got me going, but.
Well, I
Yeah.
got another 5 minutes with you. He's gonna come. So the segment right before yours, we had some technical difficulties with the sound.
You got a little free time. I just
So
can't
we're
think
gonna
of
go- I guess
can't think of a good story right now, you know.
that's okay. We're gonna end up going over a few minutes anyways.
Yep.
We're gonna start over
Yep.
here.
You know, talking about the Fargo Blues Fest, I sure am sad about Dan Bradell's passing, you know. That whole deal is just a bummer, you know.
I don't think I heard about it.
Oh yeah, Dan is.
Oh, you knew that.
Yep.
We were
Yep.
his son
And
saved.
that's how the Red Hawks.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm
That's
bad with names.
pretty sad, you know, because I knew Dan from way back, you know.
How did you meet him?
In the good old days. Well, I used to work at the Brass and Wax record store in Breckenridge, and I would take ticket money up to Mother's Records on the way to the show. You know, they'd be sitting around in a huddle on the floor with a big pile of money and tickets there. I'd throw my thing in the pile, my money in cash. They wouldn't count it or nothing. I'd say, how about them 2 tickets I was supposed to get? They'd hand me 2 tickets, away you went. It was just handshake and a smile in those days.
Right.
You know, the late 70s, 1980, when Dan was booking shows, you know, that was the good old days. I mean, tickets were $7.50 or something, you know.
Yeah, I remember his wife caught me sneaking in there. I was broke and I didn't want to go, but I wanted to go, so I tried to come in the back door and
Oh yeah.
he's like, you didn't buy a ticket when you trying to sneak in, and she came and gave me 2 backstage pass.
Well, you're like royalty. You deserve that now. Yeah, little Bobby's earned that right, I'd say.
Well, should we say goodbye and try this other segment again?
Okay, well, I certainly appreciate you having me on, thinking about me, you know.
Well, yeah, you're a good dude and you got a great show. And
All right.
I mean,
Make sure we got links to your radio show so we
Yeah.
can have it on the webpage because we get a lot
All right.
of graphic blues stuff.
yep,
Okay. I'll send you something.
yeah, absolutely, and
All right.
we'll share it everywhere.
All
Thanks
right.
for being
Thank
on,
you.
Singer. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
This has just been so much fun. I want to thank all of the guests I've had so far, all the viewers that have been tuning in. Really appreciate all your support. And come on out to Little Bobby's in McIntosh, Minnesota, and we'll feed you. We'll let you go through the museum. We've got some vinyl for you. We've got a website. We've got obviously a podcast. Little Bobby's got his own radio show every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Yeah, there it is. See, look at that. And we've got a great producer. Little Bobby's got some music videos coming out pretty soon, so stay tuned for those. And I'm going to say ta-ta for now. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.